Hello and welcome to the ASMR Trigger Test Clinic. So, I understand you're visiting us today because you have lost your tingles, is that correct? Okay, so with your visit here today, we aim to bring your tingles back. So, before we get started, I would just like to ask you a few questions in regards to your ASMR preferences and your history with it. Okay, let me just grab my pen. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how relaxed are you right now? Okay. So, to help you relax, would you be interested in some warm tea, some essential oils, maybe some breathing exercises? You're good? Okay. Well, if you happen to change your mind at any point, do let us know. We find that when people are at their most relaxed state, it tends to trigger their ASMR preferences a little bit easier. Yeah. Okay, so when did you first start watching ASMR videos? Okay. And do you watch ASMR for sleep, relaxation, or tingles? Maybe all of them, or some of them. Okay. And how often do you watch ASMR videos? Okay. And would you say the amount of videos that you watch has now decreased, stayed the same, or increased since losing your tingles? Okay. So, in particular, how often do you watch the same ASMR video for tingles? Okay. And when did you first notice that your tingles were becoming weaker or disappearing? Okay. Now, was your first experience of ASMR in a real life situation or watching ASMR videos? Okay. So, compared to your first experience feeling ASMR, how do your current tingles from recent memory compare to the last time you had tingles? Okay. And are you open to testing your tingle immunity during this exam today? Okay. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your trigger preferences. Triggers that would have most typically triggered ASMR for you. Okay. Now, have they changed over time? Okay. Okay, so that is all of the questions, and now we can move on to the tingle immunity test. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to perform a series of classic ASMR triggers as well as some of your ASMR preferences, and I would like for you to please rate each trigger from 1 to 5, 1 being no tingles at all, 5 being maximum strong tingles. Okay, if you could also please note where you get your tingles, shoulders, head, arms, wherever it may be. Okay, perfect. So I'll just pop my noteboard down and I will start with the ASMR trigger immunity test. Okay, so starting off with the first trigger, this is page flipping. So I'd like for you to also watch the trigger occur. Maybe you could get a visual ASMR experience. How do you normally feel about page flipping? Okay. Now, do you tend to get ASMR through one ear or somewhere in the middle? Okay. Let's go over to this ear. This ear. Back to this ear. Back to this ear. And then I'm going to do some fast page flipping. In that ear, and some page flipping in that ear, and in front of you. Side. Okay, so what did you think of this trigger, the page flipping? Okay, so I will go grab the next trigger. So the next trigger that I have is fabric scratching. This is a rustly sound. Panning. Some people get ASMR when the sound pans from one ear to another. A bit of more aggressive scratching. The speed of the trigger can also affect your ASMR. Okay, so how would you rate that ASMR trigger? Okay. Alright, so now we're going to move on do some brushing. This is specifically of your ears. You'll be able to feel the brush down both ears, starting on one side. Back to that side. So how's that? Okay. Okay. Now that we've tried it with that, let's try that with a trigger word. Brush, 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 brush. Okay, so tell me about your tingles with that trigger. Okay, alright. So now we're going to be moving on to hand movements. This is strictly a visual trigger, but you can have audible triggers alongside it. We're going to focus mostly on the visual. Just moving my hands around. Close, close, and far away. Close, close, and close, close, and far away. Sort of a scratching motion. Little closer. Not face touching, but just close hand movements. Good. Good. Far away. Okay, so how would you rate that trigger? Okay, So now we're going to move on to trigger words. I will be specifically starting with whispering these classic ASMR trigger words into each of your ears individually. Okay, let's start on this side. Tingle, 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 Okay, so what did you think of the trigger words? Okay, alright, so I'll just go grab the next ASMR trigger. So the next ASMR trigger is a brush, and I'm going to be brushing your hair. Okay, alright. gently brushing. Gently brushing. Okay, so what did you think of the hair brushing? Okay. So now we're moving on to liquid sounds. I have this bottle here, and I'm just going to make some liquid sounds with it. Let me know what you think of this trigger. I find that oil is best for a consistent liquid trigger because most liquids tend to bubble up and you lose the sound. Okay, so what did you think of the liquid trigger? Okay. Okay, so now we're moving on to a light trigger. So I'd like if you could please, for the beginning of this, just look straight ahead. Okay. You can let your eyes relax. All we're doing right now is just passing the light across your field of view. So now you can go ahead and follow the light if you'd like to. You can follow it for a little bit, take a break for a little bit, come back to it, keep watching it, whatever you want to do, okay? Okay. Okay. Now I'd like for you to please focus entirely on the light. So just follow the light, follow the light, follow the light, follow the light. Good. Okay, let's do some instructions to go with it. Keep following the light. What corner is the light in? Okay. What corner is the light in? Okay. What corner is the light in? And what corner is the light in? Good. Okay. Now follow it across from left to right. Good. Good. Center, up, down, up, down. Good job. Left and right. Left and right. Good. Up and down. Okay, you can relax your eyes. Light's just gonna get pretty close now. You can just look ahead if you'd like to. Good, 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 good. Perfect. Okay. So what did you think about the light triggers? Okay. So now I'm going to be doing some inaudible whispering. So what that means is I'm going to be whispering some words, but barely audibly, so you may struggle to hear the words, and that is the point of the trigger. It's more to focus on the sounds of the words rather than what the words actually are. Okay, so for this part I'm going to be focusing the inaudible whispers on either ear individually. Okay, start on this side. Okay, so what did you think of that trigger? Okay, alright. So now I'm going to do a little bit of tapping. Now there is a lot of variations of tapping. There is nails on the object tapping. There is shorter nails. There's more of a closer tap. There is sticky tapping, finger pad tapping. But let's see how your ASMR responds to this tapping. And also, your tapping preferences could be other materials too. Tapping can also be a little bit of a visual trigger. Okay, so what did you think of the tapping trigger? Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to put on a pair of gloves. I'm going to be making glove sounds. Okay. Now this will also have a little bit of a visual trigger with it. Okay, so what did you think of the gloves trigger? Okay, so let's move on to the final trigger. Okay, so the last trigger is going to be some face brushing. Okay, just gently brushing across your face. Good. Across and across. chin, up. Good. Good. Okay, so that is the last trigger for your ASMR tingle immunity test. I'm just going to put this trigger down now and we will talk about your ASMR responses to the triggers. Okay. Okay, so how do you feel about those ASMR triggers overall? And what trigger do you think was the most effective? Okay. Alright, so now I'd like to pass on some advice to help support continuing getting your ASMR tingles back. And my suggestions are: try taking a break from watching intentional ASMR videos for a while. You could opt for just taking a break from watching ASMR altogether, or you could try out maybe a guided relaxation video or audio, or you could try out the hundreds of unintentional ASMR videos they have online. Those videos were not intentionally made to trigger ASMR, but they do work for a lot of people. You could also try doing ASMR in person. So, for example, just like that fluffy brush I was using, you can use that to trace up and down your arms or on your face, and that can help induce the feeling of tingles because it has that soft, slightly ticklish but not uncomfortable feeling that does slightly mimic the feeling of tingles. I would also suggest trying out ASMR in a different language. If you listen to maybe just one or two languages, you could always try a different language and see how that works for you. You could also try out listening to different ASMR content creators, and not only that, but you could also try listening to different microphones. For me, I am a big fan of listening to lo-fi ASMR, Tascam ASMR and Blue Yeti ASMR. I find that they are the most effective microphones for giving me tingles, so I would suggest maybe exploring different microphones to listen to. My last suggestion to you would be, if this of course applies, to reduce consuming caffeine before watching ASMR videos. Oftentimes you'll find that when you are more relaxed, it is easier to get tingles. So this only of course applies if you do consume caffeine. And one thing I will say is that ASMR tingles oftentimes comes back pretty unexpectedly, so we can't say for sure when your tingles will come back, but following these suggestions could help increase your chances of getting your tingles back sooner rather than later. Okay, so do you have any questions for me? Okay, so that is everything for today's Tingle Immunity exam. thank you so much for visiting us today. Take care. Goodbye.